Yeah, get the music folder. Do. Bring down the music to a not so loud volume. Oh shoot, no. Jeez, there's a lot of what the heck? Okay. I forgot Taylor Swift was still around. Get that off my screen.
Well, you got a thing for Taylor Swift?
No, it's just the news. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why she got in the news again.
Mm-hmm. Probably being a hoe.
So it was something about skin tight suit, so but I didn't click on it. I was kind of, I didn't, never liked her. I mean, it's not that I hated her, but I was never one of those people who are like, oh my goodness, it's Taylor Swift.
You know, I have a friend that kept.
Oh, but I'm gonna just warn you. I think I hit the live button a little bit earlier. So
Okay.
if you don't want to say, if there's something you don't want to say, be back.
I
Just
have a
letting you know.
friend that has had a rough time with her boyfriend recently, and she sent me some Taylor Swift music, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It was actually nothing like I thought it was. It was actually really deep, and I was surprised because I've always thought of Taylor Swift as like the iconic like this is terrible music musician, you know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of musicians are that way. I'm pretty sure Justin Bieber isn't all that bad, but I can't
I'm
bring
pretty sure
myself.
that Justin Bieber is all that bad, dude.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure that Justin Bieber is all that bad.
I wouldn't know because I haven't listened to it. Wait, have I? No, I don't think. Rebecca Black though, I have listened to some. Granted, it's more like Friday that I listened to because that was on the radio on repeat. But it's funny. That's not as bad as that was. Uh, Granted, I think it's because I was born in the '90s, so there's probably I have some lean towards like I could like okay, there's some musicians who were probably popular near the end of a certain era, and I'm like okay, like I can at least stand them, but it's like the ones after the fact I can't stand you.
Yeah.
It's like BTS, I don't listen to any of their music, or even Big Time Rush, like that one, like I didn't listen to them, and my sister did, but I never did.
Mm-hmm.
The Jonas Brothers, she watched their TV show. It was like a lot. I think there was an era definitely like our years, couple years that you could see that television was transitioning because it was happening to Cartoon Network at first, where you could tell they're transitioning from being just cartoons to live action shows, and I didn't like that considering that their name was Cartoon Network, but um, and Nickelodeon is starting to do the same thing too because like they're not. Granted, I mean there's no problem with it because they've always been doing live action, like live or acted stuff because the all that was one of their things back in the day. Keenan and Kel, like they were doing a lot. Granted, I'm also starting to see there's a lot of Dan Schneider is apparently not the guy who I thought he was, but I don't know who I thought he was. So finding out that he was a pedophile, I just like, hmm. I still like these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I guess for me, it's like I can separate the property from the person. I know some people can't, but I
Yeah,
feel
black people are good at separating the property for the person.
okay, and whatever that was, we're here for Anime for All season 2. We're going to be apparently reviewing episodes of Shaman King 25, 26, 27, and 28. Apparently, I made Jock laugh so hard that he is trying to recuperate.
Oh my god. This is why you're the best, Jeremy.
I had to move the topic off of there because it was gonna eventually, I guess, devolve into something else. I'm not sure what it's gonna devolve into.
I was just saying that I was just saying a nice thing, that's all.
Hey, question on your notes. I see that on this page where you have people's names and notes. There's a
Yeah.
Shaman King 2, and then I know apparently I guess this was supposed to be episode 25, but you moved it over.
That little like fragment.
Yeah.
That's just so I can, when I start new episodes, I can copy and paste that and use
Okay.
this
I
basic
didn't know.
setup
Okay.
without having to retype it from scratch.
Okay. I was about to remove it, but then you said you need that. I was like, okay, never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone. Then I'm gonna leave that straight alone.
Sorry.
That's no problem. I thought maybe it was a mistype, but I didn't touch it, so it's still there.
It's just easier for me that way. That's all.
That's fine. That's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Don't believe him. Okay, we had a little bit of break. Life kind of hit us. Well, life hit Jock in the face. So
Mm-hmm.
real quick before we move on these episodes.
First time, not the last, that something hits me in the face.
Well, okay, out of context, our essence. I guess we're gonna do a little bit of the. For jumping in, just look at the stats. If there's any change, probably not.
To everything, change.
Oh wow, we lost a follower. Okay, well.
There is a season, change. What?
You good over there?
I think so.
We lost a follower apparently amongst the week. Okay.
Is that my fault? Are you
I
blaming me?
have no idea whose fault it was.
Why are you blaming me for losing a follower? What
Did
I ever do?
did we always have somebody or a couple people listening to us in Ireland, specifically
No.
Dublin?
No.
That's new. Welcome our United Kingdom listeners. Huh?
Cheerio, jolly good, and all that rot.
Wait, the heck?
Is that inappropriate now? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just trying to figure out Quesnel in Canada.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know how to
Why-
pronounce that. I think I just like mispronounced it. I'm pretty sure I did.
Why you have a problem with Canadians? This is why we lose followers, because you hate all these different people.
How about you take a dip in the Gulf of Mexico?
You want me to take a dip in the Gulf of Mexico? Now you're having a go at the Gulf of Mexico. See, I did that because
I'm just
I'm
saying,
trying
like, don't you just want to swim in the Gulf of Mexico? That's all I'm saying.
I'm trying to relate to the people in Europe. That's why I'm saying now you're having a go.
I don't think that's a European saying.
Now you're having a go at the Gulf of Mexico. That doesn't sound
That-
European.
That I don't know what that accent was, but if it was not European,
Now you're having a go at me.
that sounds like the UK.
Okay.
Sounds like Yoshida Mario. If anybody knows who that is,
It's 9:49 and we haven't started talking about Shaman King yet.
you're 949. Okay, wait a minute. I just want to check something else here. Our stats have gone down, but okay, we had a not so great November. Well, yeah, November stuff started. Oof. Okay.
Probably there's no podcast November or something. Is that a thing? Do they have a thing called No Podcast November?
No, but there's something else that starts with an N that is usually November. We're not gonna talk about that right now, or actually ever. I'm not gonna let people take that sentence out of context.
No internet, like no net November.
We're gonna talk about episodes 25 of the Shaman King. Shaman King. The episode title is The Great Emoji House Asakura. I butchered that. The summary here is Yo confesses that Hao is not only his predecessor but also his twin brother. This shocks most of his friends, while his parents remember how they failed to kill the recently born Hao. Yo's grandfather trained him in order to defeat on his twin in the future. Basically, this is an entire backstory well, not backstory. This is like we get a chance to see what happened from the scene that we saw in episode 1 when Hao was born.
Yeah.
I want to bring out here. I want to say Yo calls him his big brother. Technically speaking, they are twins, but he was born a couple seconds earlier. Typically, if that is the case, then usually they're the older one, even if it is just by a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
That's why.
Cool though, because like, I don't know, I've really appreciated the way Avatar has done this. You know what I mean? That every iteration of every reincarnation of the Avatar is, and gains something from its previous incarnation.
You trying to mess with me?
But that's what we're talking about, Avatar, right? The show we're talking about.
No.
No, we're just talking about. Okay, so an enemy with spirit bending powers comes back, reincarnates over and over again as the same person in a different body, and every reincarnation is more powerful than the previous one. At what point does this not become Avatar?
They're dealing with dead spirits. The Avatar is just elements and bending magical abilities. These
So
are
the
two
difference
different.
is,
They are
the
separate
difference
things.
is Korra goes to the spirit world, and in this case, they're just working with spirits. That's the big difference.
She's not controlling or putting spirits into objects and using them to fight.
Korra's not?
Korra's not. She has not done that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little confused about where the line is between.
I feel like he just wants to get on with the whole, like, guess how the elements in the pentagram have coincide. Because I will say, when they were talking about the elements, I was thinking of The Last Airbender, but I had a feeling he was going to do the. He was.
Earth, fire. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Metal, water. Mm-hmm. But that's not true because there's no metal benders in Avatar.
I know you're just playing with me. The moment you said that, I literally just pictured Toph breaking into your house and, what do you think I am? And then killing you.
No, you're right. There's nothing about this as a Avatar.
Okay, you have your episode at 2:30. The episode begins. Basically, this entire episode is just, giving us context for Hal in his reincarnation status. He's right that every time he's reincarnated, though they explain it more like a Zenkai boost. So he brings himself close to death, or in his case, he is dead. And he comes back, and as a result, his Furyoku, or his mana, is what they keep on using. I keep on seeing the term used. It keeps on going up every time a shaman is brought near death, which is essentially a Zenkai boost.
His power level goes up every time he receives a Zenkai boost. Let's just call it what it is.
Again, this show was around the time where this manga got made around the time Dragon Ball Z was popular.
It's okay.
So there's just going to be things that are similar, but it'll probably work on a different basis.
And Haku Black is not Goku.
How isn't a god? He's a mortal that's just constantly preventing himself from dying. Actually, not even Goku Black wasn't really even a god either. I don't care what he said or he thought he was. I don't even know where Kai is fit on the celestial plane, but we're not gonna get into that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what here he's playing like the pentagram. He shows the reason why Hal survived the explosion is because apparently he turned fire to water to stave off the explosion, which I will admit I don't still completely understand. It's like fire creates earth, earth creates metal, metal creates water. You only have 4 on here. I don't know if water creates wood or not. I'm not sure they show the relationship between water and wood.
They say it's a cycle, and then they show you almost the whole cycle. And water goes to fire, fire goes to earth, earth goes to metal, metal goes to water. There's only 4 things there, but a pentagram has 6. So what are the other elements? And then I was like kind of thrown by that, you know.
From the way I also hate the fact that he goes full metal alchemist at this point. He is constantly throwing in these random. He's fitting in other animes or shows into this list. If only you guys could see this. There needs to be like a behind the scenes podcast at some point. It's hidden behind a paywall. But we're not gonna deal with that. I'll see about that later. But Yeah, the relationship to each water. I mean, some of them don't make any sense. Like water turns into fire. Like I'm guessing he has to understand. Like I mean, they say he understands how each is related to each other, which is what allows him to control all the, I guess, the great spirits. Because there's more than the great spirit of fire apparently. He just took the great spirit of fire with him. Um, from the way they made it seem like he kind of took all of them, but it's really weird. Also, we also learned that the great spirit of fire is a piece of the great spirit itself, which is even more weird. Um, I didn't think that the Great Spirit actually had a physical form, but I guess it makes sense if he's what all the shaman answer to. You know, the thing that they worship. Um, it's really weird. You also have a section here about the Howl's Oversoul, and it's also described here that Howl's Oversoul is eating other souls to gain more power. Which I guess when Howl was born, his spirit was pretty weak. And apparently, in order to speed up its recovery, he needs to be eating souls. So I'm actually gonna guess how many people actually died up to this
Yeah,
point.
it basically it reverted to its bug form, and then once it got through its bug form, it was able to eat souls, and every time it ate souls, it got closer to its perfect form.
You done? You done?
I'm sorry. Is this hitting too close to home for somebody?
No, I'm just like you don't have to keep bringing things back to Dragon Ball Z.
What are you talking about? I was just describing what happens here. He eats the souls, and he gets closer to his perfect form, right? His undefeatable form.
His original form is what they're doing here. This has nothing to do with like you know
He
what?
doesn't
Never mind.
have an original form. He constantly grows.
Also, here we found out this Omni no Jutsu allows him to change the nature. I guess is how he's doing it, which is still weird. I guess maybe they'll explain that as uh, time goes on. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to pull up the episode here to see if there's anything else going on in the middle of all these notes. That way I can pay attention to it. I don't remember too much of it, actually. Get here.
What are you looking at?
That was episode 25. I just want to see if there's anything I'm skipping that could be important to bring attention to. Oh, here's the 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess they just share like I don't know how to explain this, but I'm guessing fire is just to water as water is to wood as wood is to earth and as earth is to lightning, which lightning is to fire. If like you look at it as you normally make a star in one line, you never lift a pencil.
Yeah, I noticed that like they use the inside of the thing, but there's
Yeah,
still 5 things involved. So like, what is the 5th one? We have water, fire, earth, metal.
I think that yellow is lightning or something, or is that yellow thing metal?
Let's look up one of these symbols and see if there's like an article on it somewhere.
So looks like that top point goes down to like the right corner, then the right corner goes up to the left corner. I mean to the left corner. Then the left goes to the right. I mean, granted, like brown to whatever that color is down there to blue to red to yellow, then back up to brown.
It's
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so what that one is how they behave in conflict. Okay, so that right there explains the arrows going to each one. Then they have a mutual benefit, which
wood,
brown
fire, earth, metal, water. So the last one is wood.
cycles and switch elements create each other. So we go from, I guess, wood to fire to metal.
So I was right about wood. So water, fire,
I
earth.
guess the tip is wood. I don't really know.
But then he says metal creates water. So where the hell is?
That metal must be yellow then. So it must be wood, fire. What's the one
No,
I'm
but I
not
think
using?
these are the ones. That's the way he described it. Water creates fire. Fire creates earth. Earth creates metal. Metal, for some reason that I will never understand, creates water. But where does wood fit in if that's what's going on?
Wood must be this brown one at the very tip that I guess starts the
Yeah, I
mutual.
know, but like, what does it create and what creates it? Like, why do they all create each other except for that one?
It's the whole chicken and the egg thing, which came first.
Oh my god.
The cycle is which elements create each other. I'm pretty sure water creates wood then, but I don't know why. Which one? I guess which one came first is the. This is a good question. I don't know. I mean, it's an anime thing. I mean, like, the Great Spirit is the Great Spirit. He probably it's one of those things. Probably he just creates it himself.
It's
Something
just
got.
like,
Hmm?
he's like, "Well, do it live."
I
Sorry.
mean, yeah, he did it live, all right.
Now I've got to be wrong about something here. I'm trying to see. Wood is born from water.
Like, I mean, you continue. I'm just trying to. I'm looking over the episode right here, right quick, to see if there's anything relevant. I mean, horror was just like pretending to go beat up Yo, but that's I guess nothing really relevant.
Hang on. Okay. I just found a real cultural reference about it. So maybe this will help. Fire is born from wood. Land is born from fire. Metal is born from fire. Water is born from metal. Wood is born from water. Wood fights land. Land fights water. Water fights fire. Fire fights water. Metal fights wood.
Well, the wood and the metal thing makes sense because metal could be taken as industrialization, while wood could be taken as nature.
Mhm.
What else fights each other?
Wood fights land. Land fights water. Water fights fire.
Okay, well,
Fire
wood
fights water.
fighting.
So
Wood.
two things fight land,
Well,
and two things fight water. No, fire and water
well,
fight each
land.
other. Wood and land. Okay.
No, I'm just trying to figure out because like wood and land fighting each other.
Metal fights wood.
Well, yeah, we got the wood, nature versus, people. I guess is the best way to put that. Well, not people, but like, people in a way.
So fire goes to wood.
That's his
Then
natural destruction then.
fire is born from wood.
Yeah, natural destruction.
And then what's born from fire? Metal's born from fire.
That's I guess.
Water's born from metal.
Huh.
Wood is born from water. And as far as I can tell, nothing's born from land.
Land could be just the very beginning of it then. Because it sounds like to me, actually, based on that circle, which it's not in the correct order, but if I were to put it into my own order, it sounds like it sounds like the way the world exists, creation and destruction, in a very weird and incorrect order from what the way I think you said everything.
Well, the statement that I have here is like really all over the place. That's the problem. But it just, at least it has everybody on the list.
That's what I'm taking. I think it like everything exists everything exists in harmony with each other because it's just how the world works and how it stays in. Because one of the big in any show, if you ever get down to the very basics of a lot of things, usually there's a lot of destruction and creation. Yin and yang, and it wouldn't be wrong to apply yin and yang here either. Um, you know, everything has a purpose, and once that purpose is served, I guess it moves on to the next stage. I guess I want to point out too. Hana brings up the fact that, well, Anna brings up the fact that Hao is like over 1,000 years old, which isn't uncommon for anime because typically some people look a lot younger than they are. I will never understand that. The Master Roshi is a really weird exception to that because he looks really old, but I think he's older than he looks.
Oh yeah, he's crazy old. They tell you at some point how old he is. I just can't remember. I think they do in Dragon Ball Super. He's over 300 years old.
He looks like he could be 80. Oh well. Like everybody's like, everybody's coming to terms, and we found out.
He's got the immortality thing going. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but it's like he looks like he could be 80, but it's like, he's 300 G's. It's immortality in that. That is such a really interesting word people get confused with. Let's see here. Let's see in this episode. I'm just trying to, gauge everything. I mean, they get all the information being told. I mean, Ren, as being Ren, is able to deduce everything from being told very little. It just shows how, I guess, how perceptive he is. Here is the great spirits, like the one. I guess the great spirits, like looks at the wood, the water. That yellow guy definitely looks like metal, so yellow is definitely metal then. I guess that dark brown one is supposed to be earth.
Or wood.
Well, I thought that light one might be wood. I have no idea. We got the fire one at the very end. Though, based on this, they make it seem like Hal stole all the great spirits and combined them, and he's only really using one.
Well, he ends up using two, water and fire. But that fits in too, because fire fights water, right?
I believe so. I mean, you got the diagram
fire.
up.
Sorry, water fights fire, and he created water to stop fire. So it still follows that theology.
Yeah, I understand, but it makes it seem like he stole all of them. I feel like he only ever mentions that he went in there to steal the great spirit of fire, but
he's able to transmute it.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying that I think he must have combined them all, and he's just pulling them out when he needs them to, because he understands everything. He understands all. Apparently, is his thing.
Yeah.
How's got this like very weird like red Super Saiyan God thing going on here with the aura?
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
Well, I mean, what's in my face? I actually had no reason. I can't not.
So we get to talk about Hell Metal Alchemist now?
Dang it. Why are you this way? Why are you this way? I also want to point out here that apparently he only burns spirits when he feels like there's no purpose behind them, and then he'll eat the ones that he wants. It's like I said, this show is getting insanely dark for like 14-year-old, 13-year-old kids fighting each other. Like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's not as dark as some other shows I've seen, but this show is taking turns. I mean, at this point, I don't know what's gonna happen because the next 3 episodes, things happen that I was never expecting.
In anime, 14's the new 19 anyway. You gonna tell me I'm wrong?
I don't even want to think about it. Then we move on to the Patch Tribes. I guess I want to bring this up too. Is that actually I can use the notes here as I'm watching this. Radim, one of the Patch Tribe members, let Silva know that he recorded most of Hal's techniques. I'm pretty sure he didn't record them all, but like he was able to record some of them, which is kind of odd. I guess Hao doesn't really care. What do you mean he shows that he doesn't really care what people know about it because he still thinks he's gonna win, which they kind of confirmed that he will still win because no one can stop him. Which is even crazy that they've already confirmed that he's supposed to win, but I guess the real fight won't happen after the tournament's over. Makes you wonder like how crazy the fights are gonna be after this tournament. Let's see, like Radim here warns Silva not to get involved. Silva wants to get involved because apparently he's a blood relative of Hao when he was a part of the Patch tribe, which is crazy, in my opinion. Like I guess that explains why Silva has been acting weird. But then it makes me kind of get concerned too, because if he is a blood relative, and Hao is this way, then I'm actually kind of curious, does Hao's craziness like cross blood, or is it just Hao is crazy?
I mean, Yo seems pretty yin yang of him, doesn't he?
What?
Yo seems like a pretty much a yin yang of him, doesn't he? He doesn't seem like he's anything that. Like,
oh well, I mean,
he seems like he's as pure as the other guy is corrupted.
Well, I mean, Rin says that he lacks a lot of emotions that most people have. Like he brings that up, that being his other half, which is still kind of confusing to me. It makes me think that Hao is tending to eat Yo. Which I mean, it wouldn't be too far. It's concerning what he's been doing at this point. He wants Yo to get stronger. Because they bring up.
Right?
What?
Absorb him or feed his soul to his oversoul or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, something's gonna happen. Like, I mean, they bring up, like, Hao brings up the fact that he's gonna let Yo live because he wants him to get stronger after he gets born. Train my other half to get stronger is like what he's saying. But I don't even know what other half really means in this situation. Because like, if I was Hao, I'd be more concerned about letting my other half do what he wants. Because it's like there's a good chance that his other half could become like the thing that kills me. Thinking who knows, maybe Hao wants to be killed. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on in that Psycho's brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what he's attempting to do, why he needs the Great Spirit, why he needs to become Shaman King. He seems powerful enough on his own.
This isn't all just a build-up for him to become Shaman King?
I mean, they make it really seem like that, Hao is going to become Shaman King. Even Yo confirms that no one can beat him. It's just one of those things. Like, I don't know. Like, like a lot of it seems odd to me. Like, I don't know why. I feel like there's another big bad gonna make his or her appearance at some point.
Yeah.
Hao doesn't seem like Hao's powerful, and Hao is definitely a threat, but he doesn't seem like he's really like he's in that much of a hurry. This makes me wonder. Like, I wonder what the purpose behind it is. Like, I'm still thinking about when they say that when Hao was living. Back as in his original state, he went to the world of the spirit and he came back, and that's when he changed. It's like I'm still like, what did he see? Sorry,
it almost seems like Hao is trying to souls so that he can continue to be powerful enough, and his main opponent is like his big thing, who's like kind of like his other half, and they have a lot in common, even though one's good and one's evil. They're fighting each other. And the main one doesn't seem to be worried about anything, even though he's already admitted that the other guys would beat him, like, hands down. And everybody's worried about that because they all count on him to be their, like, trump card superhero, because all the other characters, when it comes to serious fights, aren't really worth very much. Except for Ren, who is kind of like his rival slash, like, friend who occasionally proves himself to be useful because the rivalry makes the two of them stronger.
You finished with your Dragon Ball Z comparison?
I was summarizing what was going on in Shaman King. I didn't say anything about Dragon Ball Z.
But you used the term perfect form, which never makes its appearance in the show, and there's the only other show that has those words, perfect form. So don't even pretend that's what you weren't doing. You're laughing because you know it's right. I'm right.
It's almost like he's a clone and not really a character that like was created by a single cell that split in half and formed him, and that he's made of the cells of his enemies.
Is there anything else in your notes here? They learn like how Yo's grandfather learns because he's
it's uncanny how like unique this show is, isn't it? Like I've never seen anything like that.
They learn how his reincarnation is gonna be in 1985, which that's quite a few years ago.
Shut up! I was 5.
I wasn't even born.
I know. Shut up.
I didn't exist.
Shut up.
I wasn't a thought. So someone's really self-conscious about when he was born. No, you're not, but I'm just saying.
I'm so old.
So here they learned that he was reincarnated in this world in 1985, choosing to be an Asakura in the womb of the daughter Keiko of the old man teacher Yome. Wow, that's jeez. Okay, they plan to kill the baby as soon as it's born, which that line out of context is very bad.
Did they keep saying did they kill the baby as soon as it was born because it seemed like its power level was too high?
They were concerned that it was Hao, and they were more concerned about Hao coming back.
Okay, so it's not like he was the warrior of legend or something like that then.
No, it's because Hao was crazy powerful.
Okay, not because he's the warrior that like was foretold by 1,000-year legend. Even though Hao is 1,000 years old.
Moving on, actually, like you bring up I want to talk about something real quick that you find it interesting. I find it really disturbing.
What?
Yo's mother.
Okay. Oh wait, are you gonna make a Yo Mama joke?
No, wow, dang it, Steve. I mean, wow, I called you Steve. Jeez.
I'm so proud of myself today.
No, I just you say you find it interesting. He looks exactly like his mother. It's just like it's like I think it has a lot to do with the fact that some of these characters are so androgynous that it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's so not disturbing. It's just like it's like they put Yo's head on top of a female body.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird. It's like I know typically the boys usually live with their mother anyway, but the resemblance here is ridiculously uncanny. The only thing that's different here is that she's got eyelashes, and it's just like, and there's even a scene where she's got lipstick on too. It's like, oh my goodness, they put Yo in a lady's outfit and gave him lipstick. What did they do to this poor man? And I realized it was his mother. I was like, oh dear.
Mm-hmm. But I thought that the drawing her to bear a resemblance to them was on purpose, and I kind of thought it was cool.
I'm pretty sure it was on purpose. I mean, for the most part, guys look like boys look like their mother somewhat. He looks. It's just like uncanny. It's like if you didn't know any better, it's like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing Yo got from his father was his gender, and there's a lot of jokes that can be made from there. But that, like, he looks like looks like a lady. I guess or should I say like, lady looks like a man. Never mind. We're not gonna continue that line, even though I kind of just did. We go from there, and we have the birth take place. And as they keep on iterating, they're gonna kill the baby because they don't want it to bring into the world.
Mm-hmm.
In the process of them trying to kill the baby, Hao ends up coming out. Well, first they don't know if Hao's gonna come out first or not. and they were going to take a gamble on killing the first baby. Um,
There's baby.
yes, and as they're trying to kill the first baby, he ends up revealing himself to be Hao, and it's a creepy, big-headed baby with big old eyes, with his eyes closed, but he's still speaking through his he's still speaking through this fire spirit, which I guess is interesting that he's just inhabiting a body of a kid. So whoever that kid is definitely is not going to be able to be a person after this.
Mm-hmm.
Kamichi wonders, I wonder what happened to that body if Hao were just to leave it. Because technically speaking, he's just a spirit that's going through the reincarnation cycle.
Wouldn't he just reincarnate again?
I don't think he needs to. I mean, I think he reincarnates at his own will, so I don't think he just, like, when he leaves the body, he just reincarnates.
I think he would reincarnate and then.
Well, he chose to be an Asakura.
It'd be very inconvenienced because he'd have to wait for the next Shaman King battle, which is like, what, like 1,000 years?
I think.
Yeah, so like they're not really. The goal of this right now is not. So far has not been to stop him because as far as they can tell, they can't stop him because he can reincarnate. The goal is more to stop him from doing this one thing, which will inconvenience him for 1,000 years, which is great, but it's not actually going to stop him because, you know, he can regenerate. I mean, he can reincarnate.
Dang it, Jock.
In his next reincarnation, he'll be even more powerful.
Also, I want to bring up some interesting things about Yo's father. He didn't seem all that impressive, but we'll soon later. I will soon eat those words in a few episodes later, because he completely whoops Ren's butt.
He's worked really hard for the Tournament of Shaman.
I wish I could kick you off this Discord call. Dang it, Jack.
You can kick me off the Discord call. I have Lyme disease. I'll just go to sleep.
Make me feel bad. Why don't you? Jeez.
Look at all the good cheer I'm bringing in, despite being low. I probably have a fever right now.
Purvis, Hao and Yo are born. I mean, this entire episode just really just been like a continuation of finding out more about Hao. So we're gonna move on to episode 26, which is titled Mikasa Typhoon. Oh, we're gonna get right into Yo's father. Okay, that's good. That guy, I will say, he's insanely powerful. It makes me wonder how much, like, why is Yo's Furyoku so low compared to Hao, other than through reincarnation?
Why? Because he doesn't have Hao's spirit.
Technically speaking, he kind of should, though, considering that technically speaking, he is Hao.
Basically, he possessed a twin, but the other twin wasn't affected by it.
Not with the way that Hao made it seem like.
He went into the spirit world, said, "I'm going to pick a really good vessel," and he went there, and it split. Oh yeah, you're right, because then it split, right?
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think he went into Keiko's stomach, and it just happened to be twins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was prepared the fact there was going to be twins. Okay. Maybe he was. Who knows? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what's going on in Hao's head.
So what you're trying to say is there's good Yo and evil Yo, and evil Yo is trying to absorb good Yo.
Fine. Yes. Yin and Yang. Okay, we're gonna. I guess while the title is playing here, Yo's father meets Ren's team and promises them to teach the same techniques Anna used on his son, Faust and Ryu. However, Ren refuses such idea and battles him instead, despite having his oversoul significantly improved throughout Bison's fight. Alongside the sword he has passed from his father, Ren is powerless against Mikasa.
And Shaman King, is it, instead of candy, is it weed?
What?
Well, good Yo likes weed, right?
Why are you still on this idea?
What?
Why are you still on this idea?
Of what? Majin Ren?
You know what? Okay, we're gonna move on to what's episode 26.
Okay.
I don't know anymore. I really don't. I think you finally broke me. Congratulations.
I'm sorry.
This episode is basically, I guess we're gonna. I mean, I can sum it up in 2 words. Ren got beat. So bad in fact that his own self confidence was shattered because Yo's father kicked his butt so bad. That's a basic basis of this. Like, you know, Yo's father is trying to give Ren a power up. Ren is the one that's accepted, even though I think by the end of this episode he ends up accepting anyway because he ends up, you know, seeing all the techniques, I guess, from seeing Yo's father use them, which is even crazier. But
He was too proud to learn the technique in a literal way. He wanted to like, teach himself it by watching what they were doing and then be like, you didn't teach it to me. I taught it to myself by watching you. And the other guy was like, okay, if you say so. He tricked him into learning it when he didn't want to learn it.
I also want to point out too, I think they bring attention to it at some point, and it might have been last episode that the Patch Tribe made technology to quantify mana for each Shaman King. And we find out that, well, I mean, we already kind of saw this if you pay attention to the episode. They kind of tell you straight out how his mana count is, and it's like 1,250,000. Like, how?
No, Yo.
Damn,
oh no, you're right. How?
I meant how HOW, not how HAO. Dang it. Dang it.
I'm having so much fun with you today.
Hey, he's having fun at my expense. I guess it's making a better episode. Well, whatever.
It's funny because you didn't get it for like 10 seconds. You was like a little silence, and then you're like, oh, I get it. Oh, it's a dad joke.
I feel sorry for your son. I say this every time. I feel sorry for when he's actually like a teenager and you're just gonna embarrass him every day.
The kid gets so mad at me.
I bet he does. He has the right to. But yeah, like I said before, like the fight happened. I mean, the fight's actually pretty awesome. I think this is part of the series where the fights are getting a little bit better in terms of like, I guess how much fighting there actually is. Because I'm actually surprised. Like these last couple episodes, they were very fight centric. It was just kind of ridiculous how many fights were existing, and then the hand-to-hand combat, which is also a surprise to me. I think even Rain calls like I don't know what Yo's father is, but he has a word for what he is. I just don't know what. I think it's an ascetic, and I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
I ain't about looking. I was hoping you were gonna look it up. I guess you didn't either.
I would look it up, but I didn't. I missed that detail, and I don't know how to spell it.
No worries. Like I really don't know how to spell it. I was just constantly looking like, what the heck is an ascetic? I never heard of that before.
AECETIC.
I guess I don't really know anymore because I'm not seeing it here.
Because that's ascetic.
Ascetic?
Which is a lifestyle asceticism is a lifestyle characterized by abstinence from sensual pleasures. So like living in darkness or like, you know how monks like live like, you know, and maybe like takes the vows of silence and, you know what I mean, live like starvation, things like that.
Well, I mean, Yo's father did that.
Right, so he was probably an ascetic, which means like he was that lifestyle, like where they had very, very minimal things that like would be considered a pleasure, you know, like a very minimalist lifestyle, like just the bare amounts of food and water, and sometimes they like go to a mountain and meditate, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to watch this episode to see if I missed anything, and right now there's just this image of Hal naked at the hot spring, and I really want this to move on. I'm very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too. How did they think that that was going to be okay?
Dang it, Jock. He did it on purpose. Not on a purpose, but he did it on purpose.
That wasn't very fun.
Ah, shut up, Jock. I wonder what I guess Yo's mother would be a shaman too, I'm guessing, considering that that's her father. Ah, that's so disturbing, like, her lipstick on. It just looks like Yo, and they put, like, they put lipstick on Yo.
Poor Yo.
She didn't even, I don't know if she put eyeliner on too, but if that's okay, like, good gracious. Okay, but I guess enough of that. They first go to they first, I guess, backing up a little bit before they get to the fight with Ren, is that Yo's mother goes, Yo's mama decides to go and ask the Tao family if they're okay with being taught secrets from the Asakura family, and they say yes on with the condition that, well, the old man says yes on the condition that they understand that they could possibly become enemies again, because they still have a hatred towards the Asakuras, or the world in general, because what happened to them a long time ago.
Which is weird, because the Asakuras seem to have a pretty good name otherwise, right?
Maybe, I mean, we don't know everything about the Asakuras. I mean, the Amoji, for instance, was one of their stains on their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
As Yo's falls about to exit, Ren's father, essentially, I wish they would have showed this fight, because I would have loved to see Yo's father fight Ren's father. I was actually very excited to see that, and then I found out that they weren't going to show the fight, and Ren's father was on the ground with blood all over him. I was like, damn. Like, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess so. I can really say, like, that was embarrassing. It's like, I'm glad Ren wasn't here to see that, because he probably would have freaked out. I mean, you laugh, but you know I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like Ren did not see whatever was gonna happen to him, like, until it was too late. Then we switch over to Ren, and then like Yo's father shows up, even though Ren says that he was noticing him around him like long before he decided to show himself, which is like, geez, like how long was like Yo's father, Mikahise,
Mm-hmm.
following him around then, if he was noticing it this entire time? Makes you wonder if Yo was noticing it too.
What do you think the sharpened spirit ability does? Like, what does sharpening a spirit do?
I think it just makes it stronger, based on, like, I mean, he put Basiline's soul into the sword.
Is it like a bad translation then?
I mean, typically when you sharpen something, it makes it sharper, it makes it stronger. I don't think it's a bad translation.
It sounds pretty bad to me. Like, I don't know.
I mean, again, we're using a site that these people are, I guess, aren't official translators, but they're able to translate as much as they can. Because I mean, now they're using mana a whole heck of a lot more than Furioka, which Furioka is what the term I know. I'm pretty sure they use in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't really know. It's like, I mean, I don't know if Furioka's supposed to be mana. Typically when I see mana, I think about magic, but I guess shaman stuff is considered magic, considering that shamans do exist in fantasy world. So I guess it isn't too far off. That's the point too. I don't know why Yo's father's wearing a mask of a bird. Because to me, it seems like he would be. It seems like it makes it seem like he's a part of the Patch Tribe, but I don't think he is. And parents, they're trying to fight Yo's father, but Yo's father's proven to be too fast, which isn't too shocking, considering that he's the main character's father. He also appears to be very arrogant for being
like
Yo's father.
I feel like he's not fast so much as like fighting Mr. Roshi style. Like, you know, Mr. Roshi in the Tournament of Power, when he's like able to defeat an otherwise opponent because he can anticipate their movement. I felt like it was more like that. Like he was just so experienced, and they were doing kind of like the same type of thing they did in My Hero Academia, where like a lot of times like a weaker opponent could beat somebody just because they were so like experienced and skilled. You know what I mean? And that it was sort of a Batman Superman kind of thing, you know? Where like, can Batman beat Superman and why? He's Superman's super powerful, and be like, well, Batman is prepared, and you know, blah blah blah. I felt like it was kind of like that deal. If that makes sense to you.
That makes sense. I also want to point out, I thought the sword that Ren's father gave to him was like broken, but I guess that's, you know, when I saw this, like, oh, it's just an extended blade. I guess another way you could put it is like it's a lightsaber. About the light.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ren starts to get serious because he feels like he's being mocked, and then Yo's father takes off his shirt and shows that he's wearing something else underneath it too, which is, I guess, where we get a flashback showing that like Ren's father got the absolute crap beat out of him. You also get a chance to see the spirits that Yo's father is using. One of them looks like, well, actually, both of them look like foxes. I think that's what they are. They're supposed to be foxes, but it's very. It's, I guess the best way to put it is like the fight that happens here is, it was a lot more. It was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Considering the fights up to this point,
I think it's one of the better fights in the series so far.
I was gonna say, like, considering all the fights that have actually happened, this is probably the best one they've shown. Oh, he does have a lightsaber. Never mind, take that back. There's a light on the saber when he's swinging it. Gee, okay, I know Japan likes Star Wars, but good gracious. But like, pretty much like, you know, Ren makes a swing, and then he thinks he's beating him, but in reality he hasn't, because he's just beating doubles that apparently he knew about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through your notes real quick. Wow, you say lightning source. So if I actually went further on in your notes, we would have gotten to that point.
The while you're looking through the notes, the other day I came out first thing in the morning and I tickle him until he threw up, and he told me I should take my head off and throw it.
Excuse?
That's what he told me. He goes, I think you should take your head off and throw it. So, no big deal, but I kind of got owned by a 4-year-old. That's all I'm saying. 4-year-old just completely owned me.
I feel like your son just thinks you had a detachable head or something like that.
No, it's just like Rodney. It reminded me of a famous insult that Rodney Dangerfield said once, where or not Rodney. It was from Grumpy Old Men, where they said, "Why don't you pull your lip over your head and swallow?" Which I always thought was funny. So I thought it was funny that he said that because it reminded me of the movie Grumpy Old Men.
I think I've heard, maybe I haven't seen it. I have no idea. I might have, I just don't remember it. Let's see here. Let's look at the notes real quick. I guess like another lesson here that I guess that I guess Yo's was trying to, I guess, teach everybody, at least here that we're learning now, is apparently if you have doubt in your heart about, because your Furioka is all about like, your willpower. If you have any doubt that your willpower won't be as strong, it's thus making your mana I guess either deplete faster, or you had no ability to get stronger. But I guess another, as you say, thing, it's another thing that doubt clouds your judgment. Apparently, Ren has been having a lot of doubt here. Granted, I mean, he actually had an encounter with Hao much earlier that showed that like Hao was just better prepared and stronger than he was. Ren knows this, but he's never gonna let that gonna let that defeat him. I guess there's a lot of Hao in these next couple episodes, to the point where one of the scenes that actually does happen later on, I guess, kind of makes sense. But also, was it the thing that happens to Ren in the, I guess in the next episode, I'm guessing, I did not see coming, and I was so confused. I was like, wait, are you serious? Is he really? Let's see here. Oh, and I guess the other one's a raccoon dog. I guess that makes sense. I thought they were both foxes, but I guess. I guess I could look up what sharpen means. Sharpen in Japanese. Uh, he's probably looking at it as like he's trying to make Basson stronger, which I mean he definitely did here. I guess another one of these things that really makes the show this like the action is just increased is the fact that like Yo's father Mikasa just like slams Ren's head into the pillar. And I think he does that several times in his one encounter. Like he just does not care about Ren's safety. He's just like, I don't care if you're a kid, I'm gonna slam you into the wall. I was like, geez, man, there's just blood everywhere. I'm surprised that Ren could fight. Like, do have things he's done with the amount of blood lost? I'm pretty sure he's actually suffered.
I thought the whole thing was a manipulation that he was trying to tick Ren off to motivate him to like do something about it.
I'm pretty sure it was, but it's just that he was like just the action, the fact that he was able to grab his head and just slam him into the wall, like that was just seemed brutal to me. Cause I like Ren's just getting beat up this entire series. I don't even think Yo has like been slammed into a building or anything like that. I was gonna point out too is that Anna tells Yo that this is happening and Yo doesn't care. Or better yet, he says he doesn't know what he can do about it because his father's stubborn. Feels like really? Really? You think you maybe should get involved there because your father is stubborn? But I guess we come back here. Like we also get, I guess, in this little scene with Yo and Mata. Like he said, like Mata asked, like, what is like, how is Furioka being 1 million got to do with anything? And he was like, this is how much mana he has, and this is like, how powerful he is. We have no like way of defeating him unless our mana is stronger than he is. But I guess Yo knows that if he has any doubt, he won't be able to defeat him anyway. I guess maybe that's really what it comes down to is like he knows how much mana he has, but he's gonna try to, I guess, boost it.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of brings the whole thing like the shaman's being brought near death and why the maiden is in that trap is she's trying to bring herself near death as many times as she can and it heals herself. It's like the ultimate Zenkai boost, as much as I hate to say it. She can just nearly kill herself to the edge of death and then bring herself right back because she can heal herself immediately.
So basically, she locked herself in a chamber indefinitely that has really, really harsh conditions that help her build up her
Fine,
Zenkai.
fine, it's the world of spirit of time. Can we move on?
I'm just trying to be clear about things, that's all.
The worst part is I didn't know any of this, so these are new information to me. I don't even know like how this is gonna end, and so far there's been a lot of. I've been bringing myself saying like, there's this show came out, this manga this is an old show, this is a reboot. So like a lot of this show came out around the time Dragon Ball Z was still popular, when it was still new, or still making chapters.
Yeah.
So like I mean, of course, there's gonna be some correlation between Yo and this, but I guess there's more correlation between the show Shaman King and Dragon Ball Z. But yes, it's equivalent to the Room of Spirit of Time. Okay, you got what you wanted.
Remember when they did all those big hacks against Frieza where Dende would just keep healing so that they'd get more Zenkai boosts?
But they weren't near death enough for that to matter.
Yes, they were. Vegeta got a few really good Zenkais from that.
Yeah, but it still wasn't enough to defeat Frieza.
Well, because Frieza killed Dende. When it started becoming a threat, Frieza got a little more serious and killed Dende.
Nobody looks with a white mage.
Why has he got to be white?
That's what Dende said.
Why has it got to be the white mage?
I guess we're on this topic of Dragon Ball Z. I had a question for you. What if
Okay.
so I know Piccolo is your favorite character. I know you're disappointed at the growth that or the lack of growth that he's had, but Piccolo's gone through a lot of like alien race changes. What would you say that if maybe like in order for Piccolo to achieve a next level power up, say like Super Namekian Blue, whatever, or whatever it would be.
Mm-hmm.
What if they were to like not reboot his race, but like say that maybe he wasn't truly Namekian after all, or something like that. Like maybe he's a mixed something else. Because there are mixed breeds in that show. I mean, it wouldn't be too far off to think that maybe Piccolo doesn't truly know what he truly is. He just thinks that he's a Namekian. Because he spent most of Dragon Ball thinking that he was a demon. He didn't even know he was a Namekian until he found out that he looked at these people on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if they were in order to give Piccolo a power boost to make him relevant? They had to like maybe say that he isn't truly all Namekian.
It'd have to be like a really clever power boost. Like they'd have to say he was a Namekian, but like from another universe or something like that.
Well, what if he was the half breed though? Like, what if he was something else? And that something else is what gave him that power boost.
That'd be fun. I just think that like they've got to like they can't completely throw out his origins. They'd have to like Broly it or something, where the new origins felt like the original but better.
Okay, I mean nothing happened in the manga. I was just asking because they did do something to the Namekian origin, which makes it make more sense. But uh,
Well, I mean they've already switched him from a Demon King to a Namekian, but
it's funny that you say that because demons do exist in that universe. We know what the Deborah, so it's like it'd be kind of funny if actually decided to go back with the whole demon thing and actually make him part demon. Maybe, but no, Namekians reproduce on their own, so never mind. It doesn't make any sense. Shoot, never mind.
they never are really clear on like how a Namekian reproduces.
They're asexual. They come out. I think they come out of eggs. I think.
Except the one egg that Piccolo laid when Piccolo made minions, he just so we're clear on this, King Piccolo, you know the not Piccolo Jr. When he made minions, he lost power from them, and when he made the egg, he said, "I'm putting all egg."
Okay, just to be a little bit more clear on that, if you do a lot of like, I did some research on that because Piccolo's origins has been a complete mess. Everybody knows this, but it the creator wasn't completely sure what he wanted to do, so that's why suddenly King Piccolo had so many new powers, and one of them being the egg. I'm pretty sure he had come up with something that he wanted to do, which is why he had King Piccolo lay an egg. Um,
And
but yeah,
then
it's
it was
still a
ironic
mess.
because then in
It's
the fights,
it's still a mess though.
almost every fight from that day forward, Piccolo laid an egg.
Piccolo's origin has been a complete. Ma Junior, I guess what his actual name is, it's been just been a whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be kind of cool if they were to solve it. I like the idea of Piccolo getting divine energy, but I don't know how he would do it. That'd be a cool way for him to get a power up and get divine energy, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't make it easier. They wouldn't give it to him at all. I guess now we're gonna move on to episode 27 of this podcast. Want to see? Well, I guess the cool detail is that over souls don't cast a shadow, which kind of comes back later on.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was just like a little fun trivia thing. I didn't think it was going to be like end of the world.
It wasn't the end of the world; it was just kind of cool detail. But I mean, it was
I
a good
thought it
detail. It was a
was
cool
sort of
detail,
like
and it made something else. It kind of confirmed something else for us later on. But moving on, episode 27, Farewell Forever. This is a ominous title. As Ren admits defeat, House soldiers appear to kill Mikasa, who has joined the tournament alongside two children. Ren allows him to protect his teammates as he faces House soldiers, while Hanagumi pursues the children. They're interrupted by Anna, June, and Tomo. Uh, although Ren initially proves himself superior to his enemies, he receives a fatal wound when being confronted by the brother of a patch member he killed. Horo and Chocola try to save Ren, but are outnumbered and outpowered by the enemies. Um, Spoiler alert: Ren gets killed, and it's not one of those. It's not one of those. It's a nearly fatal wound. He actually did die. The only thing that's keeping alive in this world, your spirit could still hang on. So Ren's trying not to pass on right now as he's like trying to stay in that body. I was shocked that they actually killed Ren. Like that actually I was not expecting. I saw no notes about that anywhere on the internet that Ren dies at some point. Um, Based on that, that means that it isn't that big of a deal, but at the same time, it wasn't something I was expecting.
It's funny because when I said Horo died, you were like, "There's no way it's a main character. That's not even realistic." And then like we watch it and Ren dies.
I was thinking about that. I was like, dang it. It does about Horo dying, but then Ren dies, and I'm just sitting there like, dang it, Jock.
Had to happen, didn't it? It's like part of my like brand now is to like drive you nuts.
But like just like that entire, I was not expecting Ren to get stabbed to the heart. I was literally when he was on the ground, I was like, okay, wait a minute, he didn't die. Since he said he learned a new technique, he probably even had body double. And I was like, and then he's like, nope, he's dead. I was like, really? No way. And I was so tempted to go to the wiki just to be sure, and I didn't. I prevented myself from going to the wiki. I was like, I was so ready to like, no, he didn't die. There's no way he died. I don't even care about that much about Ren either, but it's like, I like him as a character, and I was like, dang it, no. No, he was actually going through some real growth and change, and he gets stabbed through the heart. But I was like, okay, yeah, but I guess before he gets to that point, because that's where the episode kind of ends, Ren gets his ass trounced and his sword trunk seed. Oh, dang it, John.
What?
Really? He gets his sword trunked. And then after that, they have dinner. Which I mean, it isn't inaccurate, but still, dang it, John.
It's exactly what happened to his sword. It got trunked. You can't even deny it.
His father killed Ren's father, or rather, he self-destructed. That was also really weird lording. He ain't dead. I know that for. I know that for sure. He ain't dead. New characters: Team Cobblers. I'm guessing. Red Steve and Sayram. That seems very Islamic, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
Cobblehoppers?
No, the little kids' names.
Oh. Red Seb and Serum.
Yeah, that seems kind of Islamic, kind of. Not 100%, but I want to point out that apparently, like he kicks his butt. Yo's father kicks his butt and then offers him kebabs. Arab?
Serum's African origin.
African. Huh. I mean, that's not unrealistic, but huh.
Oh wait, this one says it's an American name.
I can't believe that. That seems so weird to me.
It says it's not used. It's not a commonly used name, but it's a girl's name. It's the 89,311th most common name in America.
That ain't common. Don't you lie to America like that, jeez. I also find out Yo's father, for a guy who spent a good portion of his lifetime climbing a mountain, looks surprisingly. He doesn't have that many scars or any scars at all over his body. It seems kind of weird though. I mean, I guess it's just like, I guess maybe he didn't get hurt. Maybe the power up was just from his willpower. he's trying to teach Ren that he's a weakling, and Ren knows this, but he's not gonna let that stop him from getting stronger, which is a good way to look at it. Use how weak you are to make yourself stronger. And then they all pretty much get ambushed by Hao's minions. And one of the minions happens to be the guy who was Ren's sponsor, I guess you could put it. Ren's sponsor, his brother, which was kind of I was not expecting that to come back. I mean, it makes sense that it came back, but I was not expecting that to come back. I thought we were done with that portion of his of what Ren did when he was like a bad person, and now it's like at least now we get a chance. I mean, like Gil said, like he's glad that that shocked Ren and showed that Ren still had a heart. I was like, wow, that's the way he looks at it.
Yeah, Ren always believes in people. Anytime it's possible.
I like to know what Yospa's mask is like supposed to be. It looks like a duck or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hobo barbecue. I find that too funny. But if we get to that point where they are being watched by evil patch members who are outlining themselves of Hao, which I guess isn't too surprising. These two must be Hao's like sponsor, I'm guessing. Like Necrom and in Magna, I guess the two shamans.
Those are the two up there. The younger one is
The
the
patch.
one that is there to like exert vengeance. And the other one doesn't want to get involved because he's kind of like an overseer, or what did they call him? Not an overseer, but what was he?
I forgot actually.
Like a moderator or an overseer, basically an umpire.
They're not supposed to get involved is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. So he has this guy with him that's going to get involved for him, basically.
You notice here, Team Rocket attacks. So is that like the fourth anime or fifth anime you managed to just jam into this?
It's kind of like an amalgamation of animes, isn't it?
Like Ren fights the enemy solo, demonstrates his newly. Oh, dang it! Why?
What?
Every line. Ultra Instinct, really?
He's going with the feel of the energy, right? So he knows what's happening before he can see it because he's feeling it and acting on it more instinctively, right? Isn't that how they described it? That he could predict things that were happening based on his feelings?
Yeah, he was filling up the mana. I don't think I need to see this. Ultra Instinct technique. Whoops. I mean, the Shaman Oracle. Uh-huh.
I gotta put little bombs in there for you.
Uh-huh. Stuffing on all of them. Tal'Ren killed his brother Crom. Yes, he killed Crom. They actually bring attention to that very early on. So I think it's one of the first times we get a chance to see Silva not in his uniform. They actually bring up that he killed one of Silva's best friends. And speaking of things that come back, the Peyote gang comes back, and Peyote ends up killing Ren by stabbing him straight to the heart. I think it's a good way to, I guess, explain everything that happened there.
I feel like stabbing him straight through the heart is kind of an understatement, though. He also stabs him through the spine, the lungs, the arteries, the spinal cord. Like, they list off when Faust comes over to check him out. He lists like 35 things that got damaged.
Makes me wonder. I wonder how he's supposed to survive. Well, how he's supposed to come back.
I don't think he is. Like, I don't know how sealing the wound is going to stop anything there. Like, you can't seal the wound, and now, like, the fact that you don't have a spinal cord is okay.
Wait, was Faust the thing that Yo was trying to rely on, and then Faust said he couldn't do it? I thought there was something else that Yo said to them to go find.
He said, I know a really good doctor, And then Faust came over, and they're like, "What do you think, Faust?" And then like Faust came over and like looked at it, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't help you." And he's like, "Well, then like Plan B was getting this healer to come over." It was a really good Plan B, but it was Plan B.
Wait, wasn't I guess the healer wasn't the healer supposed to be? Oh yeah, it was the maiden who actually surprisingly is not inside her Iron Maiden. I guess she's done stabbing herself to death.
Well, she's taking a break from self abuse to negotiate getting rid of
Well,
this guy.
she couldn't negotiate by putting herself near to death again. I'm guessing.
Apparently not.
I would talk about, I guess, the fight between Anna's group and the other girl, but I guess we don't know. We know the outcome of that's going to be Anna winning because Anna is just ruthless. I don't know how old these little kids are. The fact there's little kids in a shaman tournament. These people seem like 8 years old, and one of this kid gets their tooth broken.
Mm-hmm. Was that what's going on, or was he just missing a tooth because he's like shedding his child teeth?
No, I guess it's a child tooth. I'm guessing, but I mean, he gets punched by this guy and this King Arthur looking spirit looking dude. He punches him in his suit of armor. I had the detail that they kept that tooth missing because they didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to make him look like they're roughed up though.
It really didn't get to power up a little bit with her talismans and whatnot, and they gave her doll dude a rocket punch, which is really what that was, a rocket punch. It just didn't have the it just didn't have the desolation of the earth beneath it.
So wait a minute. It
Here we go.
turned out this guy was an android, and his powerful punch had a rocket in it, like that made his fist kind of into a rocket thing.
You done?
No, I was just double checking.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's about it. I mean, like Ring gets stabbed, Horo tries to save his wound from opening up even more by putting an ice bandage on it.
Which was useful. Right?
Yeah, it was useful. I have no complaints. I mean, he's only going to be under it for as long as he can keep up the mana to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's anything else notable besides friend dying?
I don't think so. Not in that one, right?
I don't think so. I mean, there you see, Chocolove and Horo showing that they actually had a friendship with Ren. I'm pretty sure if Ren was actually conscious, he probably wouldn't allow him to hold him like that. But I mean, he's not really alive right now.
Yeah. But I was appreciative of the fact that they didn't quite have a problem with him. Like, I don't know. He like everybody was mocking those two, and they're like, "Oh, now they're going to destroy you. You should be very sorry." And then they all take shots at him, and like they make it, and they're not in great shape or anything, but they weren't as easy to kill as the guys thought they would be. So I was appreciative of the fact that they held up, like that they didn't just get completely knocked over.
Well, I mean, before you talk about how the mana is just your representation of willpower, if they have the will to keep going, I'm pretty sure I mean that makes a lot of sense. There, it's like if they have the will to keep going and they haven't had their you know their willpower shattered. Yeah, it makes sense. They wouldn't be that difficult to take down because they still have the will to fight. which is appreciative of. I like that power scaling a little bit too. It's like the power scales of how if you're willing to keep going, versus the power of friendship coming to save you.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess with that, we're gonna move into the final episode that we're reviewing here, episode 28. Yo's decision. Yo's team forces House soldiers to escape, but are unable to save Ren's life. Yo then makes a deal with the Iron Maiden from the X-Laws to save Ren's life at any cost. The X-Laws demand Yo to abandon the tournament, which he agrees. That is so weird. I mean, I guess Yo doesn't really care that much. I mean, Yo made it seem like the tournament wasn't all that important to him in the first place. I think he even mentioned that the real fight begins after the tournament's over.
I thought it was slightly ambiguous what he was agreeing to, but like if they say so, like I agree that he appeared to agree, but it just didn't seem like quite a
Now
full-on
I'm
agreement.
pretty. I don't. I think Yo knows that the fight's going to continue after the tournament anyway. I think that he isn't that. I think he feels like I think his goal right now is to stop Hao. I don't think he cares too much about the tournament. Uh, he rather Hao not become the Shaman King. I'm pretty sure, but because there's such a difference in their mana, that he probably doesn't think he stands a chance. Even though it seems like he's betting on Ren's power up to save the day.
Which is not going to hit 2.5 million. The guy's been dying for 1,000 years.
But I mean, Yosu's really confident though that the power up's going to make a difference. So I actually very confused. I agree with you. The death here isn't going to add on. I think he even give a number for how much more he's going to add on, and it isn't enough to eclipse 1 million.
Right.
So I just find it weird that very he seems very confident that the death is going to mean something. So either one or two things is going to happen. He's hoping that whatever Iron Maiden's going to do is going to boost it beyond the normal capabilities that normally dying for a shaman produces.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only other thing I can think is like maybe she's going to do something that's going to give him a power boost enough to make somewhat of a difference. Not a lot, but just somewhat of a difference. But yeah, still, I mean, like this would have to be some like divine intervention thing going on here, maybe. I mean, Ren is the one who can stare at the Great Spirit without fainting, which is a very interesting detail they show you like after they get here. Ren's the only one that could keep standing while looking at the Great Spirit, which is like ridiculous.
Yeah, he's definitely got huge potential, but that's not to say Yo doesn't either. Like, I thought Yo was probably still the higher potential one out of the two of them, but I
I
guess
don't
I
know
don't.
when your rival is able to stand like when looking at the spirit determines if you're able to continue and you get knocked out, but your rival doesn't. I don't know what that says about you. Now, I'm not saying that Yo can't eclipse that potential because he's the main character. He, of course, he's going to eclipse that potential, but at the same time, it's like you would think if they were really trying to if they were trying to be ambiguous with those two, both of them would have either fainted or both of them would have at least um, stayed awake. So that way, at least you wouldn't be able to know. It's like, wait a minute, they both stayed awake. So what that mean? Or maybe Ren fainted while he was standing up and his eyes were open and nobody could tell.
I
I
don't
mean,
think that's what happened.
you never know. I mean, Ren would never let people know that he didn't fall asleep. He's got too much pride for that. He wouldn't let people know that he fell asleep while standing up. Just like, I mean, like I said before, it's not realistic that he didn't. I mean, I'm just saying it's just kind of weird that they brought attention to that. That like, he didn't. He was the only one who was awake. He was like the first one awake, and then it was Joe. But like, no, wasn't Rio awake before Yo though? I forgot actually. I forgot. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm still confused. I mean, I had a certain suspicion that Ren's gonna stay dead, but I hope not. Cause I don't know what Ren dying would do to the plot, if anything.
Make it a lot less interesting. But I guess it would raise the stakes. But Ren was like the only character other than Yo that like I really cared very much about as like a contender. Like I was amused by Chocolove, but I didn't think he was going to be like a top player. Like it was like Ren and then Yo and then like kind of nobody.
I think everybody who's been in this, in my opinion, has been a top contender. Like they have their own reasons for doing things. They also seem to have. I mean, when mana doesn't really mean much more than just a willpower. As long as you have like a lot of willpower, which some of these characters do, that number doesn't really mean a lot. They kind of even point that out too. Is like that early, all that's really measuring is how much willpower you have.
Yeah, I mean, Faust, sooner or later, there's going to be a situation where Faust's inability to move without a wheelchair is going to, like, slow him down. I know he has, like, dog legs for when he really needs them, but I just don't think Faust is going to be enough. Choco Love is pretty great, but I don't think he's going to, like, win the tournament. Horo Horo is, like, middle of the top kind of contender. You know what I mean? I don't see him ever taking on anyone extremely good. Like, I don't see how Horo would like take on Iron Maiden or anything like that, you know? And then like nobody else on their team's like really like Lysurg I don't think is gonna become one of the most powerful. Like I don't see anybody else there like that's like a threat. Like am I missing somebody? Ryu's not gonna do it.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, that book that they had learned from like provided a significant boost to their power level. I mean, much more than I was thinking it was going to provide.
Not like a 1.25 million boost.
Because it seems like it evolves your spirit to a higher plane anyway. They make a big deal that that Mutamaru ascended. But I'm pretty sure that also means that Faust's spirit and also Real's spirit ascended too.
But didn't it got Yo's energy up to what, 10,000?
How much was it before? I didn't.
Well, whatever.
I know he said he had 10,000, but I wasn't sure. I was like, what was it before?
Now, and that means it's still 1,250 times less than his opponent.
I mean, I guess basically what we're confirming is how it's supposed to win the tournament. But Yo makes it seem like the fight isn't over once the tournament's over. So I'm actually kind of curious what's going to happen after the fact.
Right.
It seems like the tournament's just there to bring everybody who's important into the fray in one spot. And then once the tournament's over, or something happens and the tournament doesn't get concluded, and then something else is just going to drop from the skies. But like Silva's like very weird behavior has also kind of got me concerned too, because like Silva is like he seems to still remain important even though he kind of shouldn't be. Which is the other thing too. He's actually one of the few patch members that seem to hold any real significance.
Who is it?
Silva, the one who has Howl's DNA directly in him. I say he seems to hold some importance, and it kind of gets me concerned since they revealed that he is a direct descendant of How.
Mm-hmm.
How doesn't seem all that concerned about him either. But I don't know if that's just How knowing that he does something that can be worried about, or that's just arrogance. I think it's a little bit of both.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
I guess we're gonna end this real quick. I heard you yawning. At the very beginning of the episode, they learn what their Furyoku levels are, which is 2,000, which breaks their will and makes them easier to attack. Which back into this whole thing like willpower. I guess we're gonna learn if willpower is gonna really become a huge point. I guess for like the end game for this show, which I can't wait to see what that's gonna be. At least like power ups in the middle of a fight will make sense. Yo comes to the rescue and defeats them all in one blow. Ryu and Faust also show up to back them up, and the enemies lose control of the match. Which is kind of funny that once they show up, they all lose confidence to want to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dang, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least the powers that they gotten mean something.
Yeah, it does seem like that. It seems like I think the idea was that Yo was alone was going to beat them, and then they're like, well, you know, maybe we have a trick up our sleeves, and then they saw the other guys, and they're like, well, he's got backup now, and it's pretty good backup, and I don't think we're going to be able to stop it. I mean, Faust alone probably could have held his own against one of them for at least a while, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give Ryu a lot of credit. Maybe he's a little better than I think, but I don't think he's ever like going to be incredibly powerful.
Well, he had aptitude to be a shaman. I mean, just give him that.
Mm.
Pretty much, Faust says that Ren is too far gone to help, but Yo doesn't believe so, so he has another idea. In parentheses, involving Manta. Really, Team Rocket? Come. Can't Man, can't be comfortable in these notes. I gotta be on my toes apparently. Team Rocket comes to defeat Sakura's team. Yo's wife to be Anna has June and Pyron take care of it. Yes, named Pyron. Kana Bismarck and that Fullmetal Alchemist Old Ironcroft versus Pyron of upgrades. Pyron seems to win by punching through the armor, but it was supposedly as cross medium. Um, yeah, that was weird. So I don't really know what Ashcroft's deal is.
Yeah, then they're like, well, the medium isn't that, but we didn't know what. But then, like, it didn't become relevant. So I guess maybe they're planting an Easter egg for later or something, or setting something up.
Is
But
Ashcroft anything in like literature that you know of?
no, I should have looked that one up. I didn't look that one up. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem. Maybe you knew off the top of your head, but it doesn't really matter. Um, Iron Maiden comes to save Ren. Iron Maiden says that Ren's coming near death and recovering will give him a major Zenkai boost. I mean, will boost his fear. Which is the secret to Hao's 1.25 million for repeatedly dying and reincarnating, and Iron Maiden has gained power from staying in near-death state and torture device. I don't know how much Ryoka she has, because they make a big deal that she has a lot of it too, because she has enough of it to heal herself.
Yeah, I mean, her healing ability makes her really powerful, in my opinion.
Iron Man will heal Ren if Yo agrees to drop out of the Shaman fight. Yo implies they'll sacrifice his role in the Shaman fight to save Ren. And apologizes in his mind to Anna. Yeah, they actually kind of like cliffhang us, and then I was very upset by that because they cliffhang you on Ren's dying face. What I would love, what I would have appreciated, considering that you can see spirits in this world, we should have seen Ren's spirit like somewhere in there, even if it was just like a Easter egg situation that he was in the background yelling at them like, "You fools, I'm over here!" Like or something like that. But
well, I do like that he's down, and that like we're like, oh my god, like that's it, like he's down. Like we were taking him for granted and thought this was his big hero moment, and he's down, you know. So I think that's kind of cool.
yeah, I hope he doesn't stay dead because that's gonna really, ironically, I'm gonna be really upset by that. I mean, not so upset that I won't continue watching the show, but it's just like I hate when you do it to characters like that because I typically characters like Ren I typically don't like at first, and I start coming around to liking them later on, and then when I start liking them, they die. It's essentially like what happened with Vegeta.
Yeah, but Vegeta's stronger than ever now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it took him a while though. Unfortunately,
He's ambiguously more useful than Goku at this point. Goku's like the miracle in their pocket, but Vegeta's actually someone you can rely on and like know that he has control over his power.
miracle in your pocket. Out of context, it just sounds so wrong.
Is that a miracle in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Okay, I think with that we're gonna end the podcast.
All right.
Let's get something else that contribute. I think I don't have much left over.
The only thing is that Emeth thing. I'm curious for the next episode if
The what?
what they're going to do with it. Emeth is the name of the next episode. They mention at the very last second of the credits. Um, I did take time to look up Emeth and see what that was about. And it's actually really interesting. The name Emeth is, I mean, there's some standard uses of it. You know what I mean? Like there's a Hebrew mythology that uses it, but the most common use of it is from the Chronicles of Narnia series. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
And the character in it is in service of, like, basically Tash, which is like a devil, like the top echelon of its religious hierarchy. It's the devil, you know, in its echelon. And there's a character named Emeth who is following Tash, thinking that he is God. Do you know what I mean? The good God. And in service of Tash, he's loyal and noble. Feels like he's really doing the best thing, but Tash is leading him astray. And when he does meet Aslan, who, you know, the good God of that universe, Aslan says that when you were doing things and you thought you were doing good, he goes, I accepted those as good acts because you meant well. So he says you weren't actually in service of Tash, even though you thought you were, because Tash can't accept good acts. He can only accept acts that are done with malice and evil in their heart. None of those things you did, even though they were the wrong thing to do, done with malice and evil in your heart. So they were serving me, even if you were misguided. And that's made him, like, I mean, Chronicles of Narnia is seen as a metaphor for the Bible in a lot of ways, and, you know, the stories of the Bibles. So, and Aslan is seen very often as Jesus or God, depending on, you know, what they're doing. And so this is, like, really controversial for Christian theologists, this character. So that's one of the things that Emeth represents, is like someone that is following an evil god but doing it with good in his heart, and therefore, like, it's accepted as a good act. The other one is a Hebrew or Jewish mythology. It's a character in Jewish mythology, which might turn out to be the thing. They created a big golem, and you know what a golem is. You know, it's like a man made out of stone or mud or something like that. So he created a man in clay and brought it to life by putting these marks on his head, which would translate to Emeth for us. And the way that the Hebrew language goes, if you take away the first symbol, or I'm sorry, the last symbol, then it changes from Emeth to Meth, which is their word for death. So the golem was growing and growing, and he realized that, like, he'd created something that he wasn't going to be able to control. So he orders the golem to take off its shoes, and when it bends down to take off its shoes, he wipes off the last character, so his name turns from Emeth, which means firmness or veracity or truth, to death. And then the golem dies, but as he dies, like, he collapses on the guy that removed the letter and kills him. So the guy that created him died with him because he was too close when this monstrous thing, like, fell down after it died. So I think it's kind of interesting that that's coming up next. I'm curious what those implications might mean. Something that you've created that got out of your control, and its death could destroy you, or is it the other thing about, like, someone that felt like was doing evil, but because they felt like they were doing good and they had good in their heart, it was accepted as a good act by those that judged them.
Well, I mean, I guess you could consider Ren being that person in a really weird way, because, I mean, regardless of the evil acts that he was doing, he was really trying to do it to get back at his old man the entire time. You know, he was just manipulated. I guess he could, like, have been the golem, because Ren died here.
Yeah, and his death will take down Yo, who kind of created him by taking him on his path and turning him towards good. We'll have to see, though. I just thought it was all really interesting it could just be a new character. It could just be the new name of a new character or something. It was an interesting formula to bring in, you know what I mean, given the way things were going right now. I thought either version of that would be a really interesting, symbolism to bring in, given that this show, as silly as it is deeply rooted in a lot of symbolism and mythology.
But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't like. I'm hoping that at least since the Dragon Non Ren's revival so long, it's gonna mean something when he comes back. Maybe a complete character revision will suddenly happen. I highly doubt it, but it'd be funny if that's what actually happens. Maybe he comes back, he has a clean slate because he feels like he's got a lot of blood in his hands.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, so I know that's not as silly and perfect as my last joke, but I did want to say that because it's really fun thing to think about while we're the next 2 episodes and the next podcast.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I really don't got much to add to that. I mean, I think that's a good way to end it. It's like, we'll find out, I guess, what it truly means here. It might just be another character. I'll say it could just be a name of a technique. I mean, we don't really know what she's capable of, and if she's capable of bringing somebody back from the brink of death because she knows how it works, then it's like I guess it would make sense. Because like she is a false god, you never really know what her goal is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the X-Lels worship her like one, but she's not one.
Or maybe it's her people treating her like a god and following her blindly, but because they have good in their heart or good intentions in their heart, they feel like they're doing good. It'll be interesting to see what they go. There's so many possible directions. It was a really good teaser when I looked it up to made me really start wondering what was happening next.
I mean, the show's definitely going in a direction I was not expecting. Like I said, I guess it took the show kind of going quote unquote dark for things to start getting really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Things were happening that I was never expecting, so I actually cannot wait for the next episode. But we'll be back next Monday for that. Have yourselves, guys, a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Actually, when it just goes out, it'll be after Thanksgiving, but you know what I